Hey everyone, welcome to The Wendy Cooper Show. Conversations with, remarkable people over 50. I know I keep bouncing around on that, but I'm just meeting so many incredible people that are over 50, so what can I say? Today, as you probably can tell, I have someone on the show. It's actually Heidi Herman. She is the author of On with the Butter, Spread More Living Onto Everyday Life. My voice is a little hoarse, so please excuse me for that. But Heidi and I had this fabulous conversation that was about an hour and a half long on Zoom. And so I decided to take the little nuggets out and eliminate me completely and refresh and reset our conversation through my magical, quirky storytelling and editing, all with my own little two fingers. So sit back, relax. I hope you enjoy probably about the next 35 minutes. Thanks for listening, everyone, and on with the butter. Okay, so let me fill you in a little bit about Heidi first. So Heidi Herman is the author of books, yes, in several genres, including women's fiction. On the Butter is her first nonfiction work. It's just it's a really cool little book. I have to tell you, it's really genius. Her passion and a common theme in her writing is her Icelandic heritage. And we talk a lot about that, which I adore. After releasing several children's books in 2017, she co-authored a cookbook, Homestyle Icelandic Cooking for American Kitchens, with her mother, Lida Jónsdóttir Herman. I didn't ask Heidi how to say her mother's name, which won a U.S. category in the Gourmand World Cookbook Awards that year. Heidi's debut novel, Her Viking Heart, was named the 2018 Forward Indies Book of the Year Gold winner, romance category. Heidi was raised in central Illinois, but has her home on a farm in South Dakota and spends winters in Arizona. In addition to writing, she loves cooking, photography, travel, and exploring the outdoors, pursuing her adventures wherever she goes. She is on Facebook as Heidi Herman Author, Instagram, Heidi Herman Author. Don't hit the microphone, Wendy. And her website is HeidiHermanAuthor.com.
Vivacious, active, energetic person that every single day she just wanted to live life to the fullest. And people would often ask her, it's like, what is your secret? And she was never really able to sort of pinpoint a really good response to that. But she always wanted to inspire people to, in her words, just keep moving. Just keep going, just keep moving. And that's really where the title of this book comes from, is the Icelandic expression that is Afram með smorðið. And it literally translates on with the butter. And it's sort of that get the lead out or get a move on or, so it's definitely one of those inspirational, motivational phrases. And I thought it was perfect because that's what she always would encourage people to do, is just keep moving.
It's so great because here on the back of Heidi's book, it says this: if you're looking for ways to add zest to your life or have free time in retirement, this book offers a wide variety of activities and challenges, along with inspiring and heartwarming stories. Discover ways to explore, play, take chances, try new things, make a difference, and have more fun in life. You're the activities director, and On with the Butter is your guidebook. I love that.
The Icelandic people are very, very forthright, very just kind of like, here I am, here it is. And they don't get offended very easily. And even in some ways, Americans, when they go to Iceland, they almost feel like they like in Icelandic, there's not really a way to say, you're welcome. You can say please, you can say thank you, but our response is when somebody says thank you, we tend to say you're welcome. So it's kind of funny that the philosophy and the mindset and the approach to life is just completely different. And that's why I loved incorporating all that into this book, because it is so just normal and commonplace and natural to embrace life and to live every day to the fullest. I have an uncle who is Icelandic, and even into his late 70s and early 80s, he loved to go hiking. And so one of his daughters would drive him out for the weekend and drop him off in the mountains, and he would go hiking for the weekend by himself in the mountains in his 80s, and that was completely normal.
He must have been related to Floki, because let's think about this. If Heidi is a 31 times or 29 times removed great-granddaughter of Ragnar of Lodbrok, Floki was like his best friend. So Floki's got to fall in there somewhere, probably within the uncle spectrum, I would think. Anyway, Icelandic people are so fascinating to me. I always make a joke that they are all related, and I think that they actually really are all related. So I never brought that up, and I wish I had. But Heidi's mother at 93 years old was like a social media influencer. All right? I mean, seriously, listen to this.
Well, it started with my mom. And she and I had both written books before, and we actually did a lot of Scandinavian events and festivals. So we were in the public eye, and it really caused a lot of people to watch her and follow her on social media. And like I said, she always had these followers that are like, wow, you're amazing. How do you stay so active? And just for fun, when she turned 93 years old, she wanted to prove that, age is just a number. So she started a year-long effort to do 93 new experiences before she turned 94. And it wasn't even difficult to come up with 93 new things. So we had a lot of fun with that, and she posted it on social media, and we just kind of went through this whole year. And when the year got done, everybody said, well, what are you going to do now? And she thought, well, the first thing I want to do is make this into a book so that other people can follow this year if they weren't following it live. And I was working on that book with her, and unfortunately she passed away before we finished the book. She was just heading to an appointment, just her normal daily routine, and it was just that fast. It was really difficult to wrap my head around. And I undertook the challenge of finishing her book. And she had not finished writing all of it. So I had to kind of work with what she had. I added some photos. But then as I was getting into it, I kept wanting to share the philosophy that I learned and how I applied it to my own life, because I knew it was going to be very easy for people to read her book and say, oh my gosh, this lady was amazing. She was wonderful. What an inspiration. But I really wanted to take that next step to make it motivational, so people could say, oh, I can do that in my life. And so I wanted to create almost like a workbook or a primer to say, she was great, she was wonderful, but you can do it too.
And here's the deal. That's exactly what Heidi did. The book it seems so simple when you look at it, right? And then you start to realize, wow, this is pretty cool. It's the simplicity of it that makes it so wonderful. A lot of times when you get older, you kind of get sedentary or whatever, and that is not at all what Heidi's mother ever was. And so this whole shared experience is woven through almost like it's not really motivational. I think it's inspirational, where you say, okay, here's a checklist. Here are some things I can do. They're very simple. They're in the community. Let me go do it. Let me find out about my ancestry. Let me find out about, my neighbors and things like that, cooking classes. And it's really a very cool book. I really, really like it a lot. But I think what is even cooler, like out of this world cool, is that Heidi is related to Ragnar of Lodbrok. Now, not only related, but like a great granddaughter.
It was so cool, kind of overwhelming. And I do remember the first time I started looking into ancestry, I must have been maybe junior high. First time it came up was my mom saying, well, technically, you own the United States, so take pride in that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she said, well, because one of your ancestors is Leif Erikson. And Leif Erikson actually discovered the United States 500 years before Columbus did. As an adult, I really started researching the heritage. I was just so tickled to find out that Christopher Columbus first went to Iceland and he read the logbooks of the Viking explorers. So he kind of knew where he was going. It wasn't an accidental discovery. He had a map.
So the Vikings were great navigators, right? That's what they were known for. They went off to discover all areas of the world. And in the first few episodes of the series, The Vikings, it is about Ragnar of Lodbrok with his compass. So I wanted to ask her about that. And Heidi just so happened to have on hand.
This is called Icelandic spar, okay? And this is actually sunstone. And they would use this. This is how the Vikings could navigate even when it was cloudy, because you could use this, and they would have two of them, and it would help them figure out where the sun was even when it was cloudy. And that's why they were such great navigators, is because they weren't using the limited navigational tools that everybody else was, because if it got cloudy or stormy, or you didn't know where you were. So that was their advantage.
Okay, I need to reel this conversation back in because we're getting off point and it's turning into a history lesson. But I had to ask, what was kind of going on in their heads by raping and pillaging and stealing?
I wouldn't necessarily characterize it that way. It was definitely the explorer spirit. They wanted to know what was out there. They wanted to establish trade routes and just see just that adventurous spirit. And that's where I think my mom got that a lot, just wanting to know, whether it's reading a book or taking a walk or, going paragliding or whatever the experience is, to just embrace that. But the other thing that's very interesting about them is it was not that they were a people of Vikings. It was that they would go a Viking.
Well, we're going to go a Viking. And we're going to fast forward to kind of the reason that Heidi decided to do this kind of new style book, actually. And once again, it is called On with the Butter because it's an Icelandic expression with, just get on with it. Just on with the butter. Here is her explaining a little bit more why she pushed herself in this direction to write this type of all-encompassing, woven story of her life with her mother, what she learned from her mother, and then ideas, tips, and challenges that she shares with you to improve your life as you move into retirement.
I have different friends that are looking at retirement, and it's surprising how many people are afraid of retirement. I'm not ready to sit in a rocking chair. And everybody knows somebody that says, well, once they retired, they just seem to wind down like a clock. And then they just passed away. I'm not ready to die yet, so I can't retire yet because I'm not done living. What you have to be able to understand is that you can make it that life really begins at retirement. And it doesn't have to take a lot of money, and it doesn't have to require you to be in excellent physical condition. And there are so many things that people think, well, I can't do it because of this. Well, I can't do it because of that. So what I wanted to do is put together a guidebook with over 200 practical ideas on, what do you want to do today? Well, if you're interested in going outside, here's 30 ideas that involve the outside, or maybe taking a drive, or maybe doing crafts inside the house, or learning something, and that's what I wanted to do, is create all these different chapters that each one focus on a different thing. You probably noticed I even have one that's focused on food, how you can have different life activities and adventures surrounding food. And that was even fun. So many of us, when we are in the midst of our careers, both career, life purpose, and friendship and socializing is all wrapped up into that one thing. And even our core identity. And sometimes it doesn't even matter how professional it is. Like if you take somebody who's a doctor, a nurse, an attorney, a teacher, those types of things, your core identity is very wrapped up in your career. Because once you retire and, oh my gosh, I'm not a teacher anymore, who am I? It becomes a crisis of identity.
Quick plug at Chance's Painting, Instagram, series of identity crisis.
So how you can take that core part of who you are, and whether that's a nurturing spirit or a caretaking spirit or an educational spirit, there are lots of things that you can do to continue that purposefulness in your life. Even though you may not be a classroom teacher anymore, you can still teach children or second language to read, or maybe teach art, or maybe support a new entrepreneur on how to do their books or their taxes. There's just a million different ways that you can volunteer or give back. And so the concern that your identity and, going to work every day, those tend to be your friends who you have lunch with. It gives you your routine, a reason to get up in the morning. So looking at retirement and that change in schedule, change in routine, change in people around you. So that's where partially this book comes in, where it just kind of gets people thinking on a different track, that it's okay.
This is when I said to Heidi, Heidi, I was on Clubhouse, and I saw that someone was boasting. They were a husband and wife. They were 27, 28 years old, and their claim to fame was that they retired at 27. And I was like, well, now it is cool for you to retire at 27, but the word retire, when it's attached to 50, 60, 65, that just is like a different thing. I mean, it's cool for them, yet it is expected of us. It's just interesting, isn't it?
This thing. And then when people say, oh, what do you do? And if you respond, oh, I'm retired, it's kind of like, oh. And the conversation falls flat. In a way, it should be, oh my gosh, how exciting is that? What are you into? What are you doing? And what new experiences can you absorb? Because to me, that idea is the whole point of life. Whatever you can experience, whatever you can, and it doesn't have to necessarily be something you're uncomfortable with or that you never thought of before. It's just embracing what's in front of you and almost deliberately chasing stuff down the rabbit hole. because you can use social media in that way. That, like, maybe you come across a post in Facebook or something, and you click on it and you read some article, or at least for me, I do. I read some article on a Viking age village that they found and how they're uncovering it, and little pieces that they found, and then all of a sudden I start investigating that, and it just leads to understanding the world and understanding people and each other. And there's just so much to it that if you say, all I'm going to do is everything that I've done before, I don't want to try anything new, I don't want to go anywhere new, I don't need any new hobbies, anything like that, you're really closing yourself off to new experiences that you just don't even know where it can take you.
This is kind of cool because this is where Heidi starts to explain to me her definition of retirement and how she looks at retirement not as the word retirement, not as like you're going to fade away in a chair somewhere, but it's like the release. It's the time of life you can do what you want to do. Now, this is provided you have enough money and you've retired, right? Me, I have to work for the rest of my life, but it's a time of release. It's a time of adventure. And that's how one should think of it. So if one comes up to you and says, what do you do? And you say, I retired, and the conversation falls flat, this is when they actually should say, oh, what a great thing. Now you get to really live life.
My definition of retired always has been, when I got up this morning, I got to choose how to spend my day. That's when I really started writing books. I still consult. I do speaking engagements. I do little projects now and then. But ever since I had that official retirement, I have traveled more. I learned how to make jams and jellies. I entered a pie baking contest. I went paragliding for the first time. I went indoor skydiving. You don't have to live life to the fullest. Just live fully every day.
Amen, Sister Heidi. So that was Heidi Herman. And Heidi Herman's book, once again, is On with the Butter, because that is an Icelandic expression for just frickin' do it. I'm a big fan of the Viking series, so I hope you are too. I am so honored to have met and experienced an hour and a half with Heidi Herman, because the actual long interview, the raw and real one, which I may post on Wendy Cooper YouTube channel, which I do sometimes, totally unedited, so you can see the difference. We laugh a lot. We really do. It's because Heidi is just a bundle of Icelandic fun. Anyway, I would definitely buy this book if you have a parent that you are taking care of, or, you just want to give them some ideas, or you want to do it with them. On with the Butter. It is spread more living onto everyday life. The author is Heidi Herman. You can find her, Heidi Herman, author, everywhere. So .com, Instagram, Facebook. I'm your host, Wendy Cooper. I am the person that creates this stuff probably for no reason other than to give people like Heidi a platform to be heard. It's just what you do, when you can share, it just shows you care. And I guess I do, right? Thanks for listening, everyone. Check out my website, wendycooper.com. This is a C-Spot Run production. You will find all of our work there also at wendycooper.com, or the letter C, Spot Run Productions. The letters, cspоtrun.com. See, my voice is just going. Thanks for listening. This music right here that you're hearing, this is by Tom Orsi of Orsi Digital Post. And I am the producer of all this stuff. So, if it's not perfect, what are you going to do? stay safe, stay home, and stay well. Thanks for listening, everyone.